Yeah, that wouldn't be the worst thing if you had to throw Bryant in the outfield because you had Josh Donaldson at third.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And now let's preview the Bulls and the Cavs.
Yes, let's do that. As I'm pretty sure Game 1 is Monday night in Cleveland.
Yeah.
Love's going to be out the series for the rest
season.
of the year, and
so hopefully
J.R. Smith out the first 2 games.
Yeah, I mean that's important to win one of those first 2 games without J.R. Smith. If you could win both, that'd be great. I don't think it'll happen. It's important to go and win one of those games because they don't have Kevin Love, and then J.R. Smith is suspended those first 2 games, and then you come back to Chicago with the series tied at 1. And especially, that's a big loss because I believe Tristan Thompson will be starting without Kevin Love. And I feel bad for Kevin Love because, Kelly Olynyk, that was a really dirty play, just grabbing his shoulder and then not letting go. Like, he wasn't letting go. And then Love had every right to go and say, oh, yeah, he did that on purpose. And Olynyk's like, no, I didn't do it on purpose. Yeah, you did. You grabbed his shoulder and would not let go.
Right.
And it looks like they moved one of the little scoreboard to the front of the left field bleachers now.
Yeah,
I guess it's kind of might have something to do with the construction.
Right. Well, those the left field bleachers are almost done. I think they're going to be ready May 11th.
May 11th, is when they're supposed to be done. And what we noticed was the little mini scoreboard underneath the center field scoreboard. That was not there, and we saw it in left field.
Right.
Like it was behind the bleachers, and now it's in front of the bleachers. So I wonder. I'm pretty sure it'll go back under that scoreboard, and then right field obviously has a ton of construction, getting a big scoreboard down the right field line for the Budweiser patio.
Yeah.
And then I love the way the Wintrust scoreboard looks.
Yeah, so do I.
And they highlight the W after every win, which you and me thought that they should highlight the whole win.
Right.
Because it says Wintrust. Highlight the W, the I, and the N.
Yeah, exactly. I think that would be. I think that would make a lot more sense.
Yeah, I thought it. I know back in the day it was just they held the W or the L flag. Except, now you have the opportunity to go and do the whole win. Which obviously they probably are just going to do the blue W. At least they don't have. There's no L in Wintrust, so they don't have to highlight a red L if they lose.
Yeah, that wouldn't be good. Yeah, so right now the Brewers have 2 men on, 2 outs, and they're
one of their other no-name players is up. There's Aramis Ramirez in the dugout. He's not having a good year, and this is important because you don't want to lose the first game to Milwaukee because then you're kind of like, well, we're probably going to win Saturday because Jake Arrieta's pitching. Except you don't really know about Sunday how Hamill will pitch because he is coming off of that phenomenal outing against the Pirates, the 8 shutout innings.
Right. So you don't really. So this is an important.
You want to be able to know that you can go into a series with Lester and Arrieta pitching, knowing that you'll get 2 good outings. I don't think that. I don't think that they'll lose this game. I don't think. They
got to Peralta pretty quially there in the first inning.
Especially
they were a little too risky, if you will, to try to score.
And one thing is, this is what's important, really important about this series is Jonathan Lucroy and Carlos Gomez are both out.
Right.
If you want to, these are the ones you especially want to win when those guys are out. I think they'll both be out next weekend, which will be an important road series. Hopefully that will have set the tone. They will have set the tone for their road trip by hopefully taking the series against the Cardinals.
Yeah,
and now the bases are loaded as he walked a man, and now the pitcher Willie Peralta is up.
At least the pitcher's up.
Yeah. Do you know John Lester is like 0 for 40 in his career as a batter?
Well, that doesn't surprise me.
No, he'll get a hit eventually, and I think we should talk about these pitchers' injuries while running the bases. Like Matt Latos got a hamstring strain, Wainwright tore his Achilles tendon, Max Scherzer.
Well, Wainwright's was just sort of a freak thing. It could have happened at any time.
Right. He could have done that while trying to cover first base.
Right.
That wasn't because he was batting.
Right. It wasn't because he was batting. So, everyone has the excuse now, oh, well, now we need the DH in both leagues. I kind of like the DH just being in the National
one league.
Yeah.
It's the only sport where you can really have some sort of diversity between the leagues.
Right.
And it really adds something to the game.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, I think eventually the DH will probably be implemented in both leagues.
Yeah, it probably will.
Just because of popular demand and because, it'll make baseball more interesting to watch.
Right. I mean,
for the average viewer who isn't, a huge baseball fan. But,
right. The thing with the declining offense, they want to get an extra offensive player, except the only problem is there's just not enough good players to go around for all these teams to have like a quality DH. And someone said, well, would you rather see John Lester bat or David Ortiz bat? Well, I'd rather see David Ortiz bat, except if you think about it, how many like great DHs out there are there?
Right.
That's really Ortiz.
Would I rather see John Lester or David Ortiz bat? Well, David Ortiz is in the American League, so I'm going to see him bat no matter what. And that's the thing.
Right, and throwing the fact that, like, when you say something like that, it's like you act like every American League team has like a big power hitting DH. No, not really. A lot of teams have like a revolving door between like 2 or 3 players in a platoon type situation, or you're rotating some utility guys around that can play multiple positions. Where if it was the Cubs, you'd probably, if Alcantara was still up, you'd probably rotate him.
And when you don't
Russell.
have a DH, it makes it a lot more interesting, just sort of the way you manufacture the runs in that game and the way that you play the game. It will be completely changed.
That's a great point because, a lot of times you'll have the pitcher bunt to try to move runners up. And it also forces the managers to manage. Like, that's really how you know if you have a really good manager, is if they make the right moves in the National League, because you need to know, do you need to pinch hit? It's like 6th inning, bases are loaded, 2 outs, tie game. Do you pinch hit? Do you let him bat?
Yeah.
So it forces your hand a lot more, and that's really what can show what the great managers are. And Joe Madden is kind of learning that now, because in the American League you never had the problem of, do I need to pinch hit? Because you can let your starter go the amount of innings you want and then take him out. Where the National League, you might have to take him out an inning early or take him out an inning later due to the pinch hitting situation.
Right. Yeah, I just I like the diversity between the two leagues, like you said. Hockey's the same.
There's really no other sport that can do that.
Hockey, football, and basketball are identical in each conference. It's whoever wins. But I sort of like the diversity of the American and National League, and I think a lot of people. I know if you probably asked. If you asked people, they would say, "Oh yeah, the DH would be a good thing." But I think if you really look at it, I don't think that many people really want a DH in the National League.
Right.
Not at this point. Not in 2015. I think maybe down the road it'll probably be forced in. But
right, and I know now, when with Max Scherzer complaining, Madison Bumgarner said, "You knew what you were signing up when you signed with a National League team."
Right. Yeah. Exactly. So, the rules of the National League and the rules of the American League. And, let's not forget, the National League, at least lately, they've had sort of a dynasty with the Giants, and the Cardinals won in 2011. In the last 5 years, there's only been one American League team that's won the World Series.
Right.
So,
that's kind of more of a fluke.
Yeah, that doesn't necessarily tell you that.
The Rangers lost twice in consecutive years, and then obviously the Giants have won it 3 times.
Right, and it's just the National League. It's just I like the National League mainly because that's the league that the Cubs are in. But like during All-Star games and stuff, I'll root for the National League, of course. But I root for certain players in the American League. Some of the either my fantasy players or teams that I like and stuff. So
yeah, there's a lot of good players. Really, you do have the option as a pitcher. If you don't want to bat, go to the American League. Except your ERA is probably going to go up.
Right.
So there's no other sport that has that kind of diversity. Like in hockey, what can you do? Oh, instead of playing 5-on-5, we play 5-on-4. Yeah, no, that doesn't work. No. Basketball, what are you supposed to do with basketball? Get a 6th man on the court?
Yeah, I don't think so.
There's really no other sport that you can do that because, all the other ones are played back and forth with offensive defense with the ball or the puck moving a lot, where baseball is kind of like staying still a lot until the ball's hit. Because, football, you're moving up and down the field. Hockey, you're moving up and down the ice. Basketball, you're moving up and down the court. You can't really do that with any other sport. And Castro just grounded out to start the bottom of the 2nd.
Yes, he did, and hopefully the Cubs will win tonight. Or
today.
I mean, this afternoon. I hope the game doesn't go in tonight, and unless it's like a 20-inning game.
Well, then the bullpen will be taxed, and Arrieta might have to pitch a shutout.
Right. Thank you for joining us today on Ryan and Ryan Power Hour here on SportsTownChicago.com. I'm Ryan Stuprich.
And I'm Ryan Risky. Thanks for listening. We'll be back next week.
Yes, we will.
And we'll be at the Cub game tomorrow.
We'll be at the Cubs game tomorrow, so have a fun weekend, everybody.
Go Cubs!
The Ryan and Ryan Power Hour podcast on SportsTownChicago.com.